Hi there, my name's Jane and I'm here to talk to you today about marketing myopia and whether or not it still has a place in today's business environment. It's my belief that it most certainly does and that it accounts for many businesses that go under within their first year. So I'm going to discuss that now with you a little bit further. The Marketing Research Association claims up to 95% of product launches fail, and the focus of executives on selling their products and services rather than providing what the market demands is the likely reason for this. I'll start with a couple of definitions for you. Marketing, which is a creative process which aims to deliver value to customers and maintain customer relationships in a way that is beneficial to the organisation. Marketing uses a myriad of strategies, for example, communication, distribution, pricing, and advertising, to enable the organisation to provide goods and services to the consumer when and where they want them. Establishing an ongoing relationship with the consumer, and one that is mutually beneficial, is paramount to the marketing function and to the organisation. Myopia is a term used to describe a lack of foresight. In a business sense, the term marketing myopia was coined by Theodore Levitt in his 1960 Marketing Myopia paper, published in the Harvard Business Review. He asserted that many companies are too inwardly focused. They are product-oriented rather than customer-oriented, and as such, they fail as the markets change. This paper and Levitt's assertions have been considered at the forefront of modern marketing. Marketing myopia is first and foremost a failure from the top. While other issues can be cited for failure, such as slow growth, a saturated market, or technological advancements, if the company's executives are product-oriented and lack foresight, the organisation will not be competitive. Executives and policymakers must learn to think of the organisation not as producers of a good or service, but one that buys customers, one that makes people want to do business with it. Organisations invest so much time, energy and money in what they currently do that they're often blind to the future. Let's now look at why an organisation might be short-sighted. Levitt reasons that there are 4 conditions under which this can occur. Firstly, the population myth, which is the belief that growth is assured by an expanding and more affluent population. If your product has an expanding market, not much thought will be put into how to further expand it. For example, the oil industry, which has become complacent by focusing on improvements to the efficiency of making its product rather than improvements to the product itself. The second condition under which this can occur is the idea of indispensability, the belief that there is no substitute for the product. Again, using the oil industry as an example, as there is the belief within the industry of the superiority of the product. The third condition for short-sightedness is production pressures. Too much faith is put in mass production, which is declining production costs as output increases. The car industry is often focused on mass production in the pursuit of lowering costs, whereas it should be recognising what the customer wants, not what the customer prefers between what's already on offer. The final condition under which short-sightedness can occur is the dangers of research and development, and in some cases focusing too much attention on it. For example, the electronics industry, which is in danger of producing products that are innovative but which nobody wants. In order to alleviate the risk of falling into the aforementioned categories, the organisation must view itself as one that satisfies customers' needs. It begins with identifying consumer needs and working to develop what delivers satisfaction of these needs. It is only when the direction and goals of the company is viewed in this way by management that the whole organisation can thrive. Now let's look at why Levitt's theories have become so important to marketing and why they have had such longevity, especially when you consider the dynamic nature of the business sector. Even Levitt himself has admitted that his ideas were not original, nor were they intended to diagnose and cure problems within the organisation. What his work provides, however, is a link between marketing and the business policy, the inner orbit, as he calls it. His theory provokes executives to look at the business in a different way. It is both practical and it is simple. While Levitt used the railroads as an example of an industry whose demise was due to the belief that they were in the business of railroads as opposed to the transportation business, I will discuss some more contemporary examples. Domino's Pizza in the US welcomed a new CEO in 2010 when growth was slow and the stock price was $8.76. They reevaluated, and thinking shifted from being a pizza business to being a pizza delivery business, meaning they were also in the technology business. Of the 800 staff at headquarters, 400 are in software and analytics. All that technology has changed how customers order, by the app or by Twitter, or even by texting an emoji, how they monitor the status of their order, and how Domino's manages its operations. Investments in new purpose-built delivery vehicles were made, which were coined cheese lovers' Batmobiles, with one seat and room for warming 80 pizzas, as well as revising the menu. The company is moving forward with technological advancements and is looking at robotic delivery methods. The share price is now $164.53, all due to defining their business correctly. Closer to home, Pumpkin Patch has recently gone into receivership, with the company noting online sales had in particular suffered due to the space being dominated by niche categories of children's clothing. Retail experts noted an unfriendly children's clothing landscape as discounters moved in. Established in 1990 and with 117 stores in Australia and 43 in New Zealand, the brand is well recognised. Did it fail to adhere to market changes as a result of being too inwardly focused? Probably yes. As a mum of 2 under 3, I have seen a vast difference between the products offered at various price points of children's wear. I believe that there is certainly a market for the product offered by Pumpkin Patch. Could they perhaps have shifted their view of themselves from a kids' clothing retailer to being in the fashion industry? This may have enabled a move into department stores alongside other fashion industry offerings at similar price points and have freed up costs as shop rental and wages. I've also spent much of the past 3 years in maternity wear and have concluded that there is nothing available between discount chains and the products offered at specialty stores at high price points. Although Pumpkin Patch did have a maternity line, I believe it failed to market the line properly as it aligned itself with children's wear, not the fashion industry. So if Levitt's theory is so trusted, easy to implement and realistic, why are businesses still failing? In 2010, Craig Smith suggested it was because people had taken the Levitt theory too far. They were concentrating solely on the customer, defining their needs too narrowly, and they did not recognise all stakeholders who contribute to the success of the company, such as employees, suppliers, shareholders, competitors, media, and community members. They also did not recognise the changed societal context in which they now operate. He suggested that when the stakeholder is engaged in the marketing process, the myopia can be reversed. Unfortunately, I believe that business, particularly small businesses that do not have the resources to implement change or the time to wait for change to be implemented, will continue to fail due to marketing myopia. I can see this in the recent increase of owner-operators who have not undertaken the traditional forms of training required to run a business in their own field, nor have they completed any marketing study. For example, food truck operators, Uber drivers, and cafe operators. Why does one cafe shut down only to be replaced by a far more successful one? I believe the answer is marketing myopia. I will now take some questions. Yes. What about growth industries? Aren't companies safe to operate in a growth industry? Well, no, they're not. Every major industry at some time has been in a stage of growth or a growth industry, only to be phased out by the next one that comes along. Levitt in fact argued that there is no such thing as a growth industry, there is only companies who capitalise on growth opportunities. The example I just gave of the cafe highlights this. Some would argue that coffee retail is a growth industry. but a cafe in one space can shut down quickly because they have marketing myopia. For example, a cafe for hipsters, which is located in a retirement community, for example. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'll direct your attention to a little video that I have made that sums things up. It's really quickly, just in case you weren't listening. Okay, thank you.